Hello, my name is Andrew, and I am a full-time voice actor. And I went back and listened to the audio of my last episode of this, and I realized that in the interest of winging it, I messed up and did some weird. I had a presetting that I think I forgot to turn off, and goodness, did that sound garbled. Um, this one's gonna be different. I'm gonna pay a little bit more attention. I got too comfortable in the creating this. Anyway, this episode we're going to I plan to at least talk about a little bit of my process of getting myself trained up. And by that I mean my voice. I knew I was going to be using my voice in a different way. I talk a lot, I ramble, I say words. I've been doing that since I was a kid, you know? Uh, but yeah, I had a lot to learn still of how to use this differently, how to get better with it, and how to be compelling and convincing, and even, though I didn't realize it, a touch of acting as well. Let's talk about that. I'm just kind of winging it. Okay, so I started this out in a past professional life. I was a trainer for a call center, and I had been doing that, or I had at the time. I did that for about 5 years or so. And when I first got that role, I remember being so excited for it, but knew I would be projecting a lot. I'd be speaking in front of people, getting good at engaging an audience and teaching them things, and it was so fun. I loved doing that. That was one of my favorite roles that I honestly had in my past careers. It was so cool. And one of the first things I did was look up vocal warm-ups, because I didn't have any training. When I was a kid, I was in little plays, like young kid, elementary school aged. I was in plays and choir, like I've said in past episodes, and yeah, I never I didn't go through theater training. I didn't stay with performing. I stopped performing after elementary school, honestly, and I became very reclusive and to myself. And this training gig was the first time in since I was a kid where I would be more so in front of a crowd, and I felt a responsibility to learn a bit of how to project to a room, and I wanted to draw them in. And it's funny because my co-trainer at the time said, you know, uh, after I'd been doing it for a while, he's like, "You did a whole lot of figuring out how to talk to people, but you didn't figure out a whole lot of how to engage the audience." So he helped guide me through some things there. That's neither here nor there, but it was just really funny because I was so I don't want to lose my voice. I need to use this to talk. And that was fun. And I did that again, 5 years, and I was good at it. But yeah, I've learned a lot more on vocal warm up things and how to use my voice. I had literally what do I think a lot of people do is just YouTubed how to do a voice warm up, how to project more, how to blah blah blah. I used YouTube and I still do for pretty much anything. You need to change the oil in your car. There's a YouTube for that. You need to install a wall in your home. There's a YouTube. We recently did our bathroom actually in this place, and I had to learn how to tile a shower. There's a YouTube for that because I don't know about y'all, but I need the budget-friendly DIY, little janky version of it where I can do it, because it's not like I can just go ahead and hire all the contractors to come in and take care of these things, or I can't always take my car to the mechanic because that costs money too, so I end up DIYing so many things, and honestly, I've loved it because I save a lot of money, and I get my hands dirty, I get my feet wet, I get my self learning. I love that kind of learning that comes with it. It does also pay to have somebody who knows what they're doing support you through that. So, all that being said, I wanted to learn to use my voice more. I had done this training thing after I was a trainer. My next kind of career path was volunteer coordination and a degree of that, because of what we were doing, was performing in front of an audience of children, and that, oh my god, when I say that was the most fun, it was the most fun. Performing in front of kids, if you've never done it, like, the excitement, the warmth, the just, like, smiles that you get out of them are so heartwarming, and yeah, that was me tapping into, now that I had done public speaking in front of adults, learning to do their jobs and helping teach them and train them, I now got a degree of performance and doing that in a silly, animated sort of way, and um, shifting through emotional levels as I was telling the stories that I was telling within that role. And it was so, so cool to take what I had already started with my training gig of just speaking in front of people and then shift it into this performance thing. So, again, learning to use my voice is something that over the last, I would say, decade, I have been really harnessing and building within those career paths. Shifting into this industry pushed that even further. I had my little warm ups that I was doing before that I kind of just boosted off of a YouTube. I had this kind of performance that I was doing over here with performing for kids. But when I shifted into this industry, I realized, or I learned, I should say, not realized, I learned from people who are way smarter than me. They are aplenty. I learned from people way smarter than me different, like, the actual anatomy of the mouth and the throat and the vocal cords and the soft palate and glottal stops. And through the training I did receive through Edge Studios, I that they did one of the things, part of that program is I signed up for a series of different webinars that these intensives, you're listening to somebody just sort of teach you, and one of them was on vocal health. And that, like, unlocked something in my mind where I realized, like, you are doing a thing, you could be doing more though, right? Like, it's that same thing. Like, when I say I'm winging it, it's because, you know, I'm just going to grab the first thing I can find that looks like it's got a degree of what needs to be done. And I'm just going to roll with that until I find the next thing. I've always said, like, the type of learner I am, or the type of worker I am, is I'm going to move in blissful ignorance until somebody lets me know that there's a different way or a better way or a more correct way, if that's a way to say it. In certain roles that works, and others not. But all of that to say, I like getting feedback for that reason. I like when people tell me or offer advice that say, like, hey, here's what you did, here's how you could do it differently. Because I'm always looking to gain more experience and more knowledge and more partnership with the people who I look up to and respect, and even ones I don't look up to and respect. I love getting that feedback too. Um, so yeah, I took these classes and it unlocked in my mind that I could be doing these things differently with my vocal warm-ups. I have found I've been doing like, a specific warm-up process for the last, I would say, about 4 months now, and I will, like, yes, it is helping. 1000%. There is no doubt it's helping my breath support. It is helping my vocal cords. Not going to do it on this episode, but I feel like I sing much better now because I'm controlling my voice differently. And that's been cool. As I have been playing with this industry or this job, as I've been playing around with the things that I'm finding, I have definitely found that when I started this winging it, I was able to get some okay results. But since I started dedicating myself more to actually the craft of using my voice, as opposed to just it being a side thing to the other thing I'm doing, it has definitely changed how I interact with it and the care I'm taking of it. And yeah, when I was younger in college, when I was college age, I was part of a band where we we did a we did a battle of the bands. We got second place, so we were pretty good. Don't pay attention that there were only 4 bands in that, competition, but we did pretty good. I was proud of us. But I, at the time, didn't sing. I didn't play any musical instruments. I'm still learning guitar, but I didn't play any instruments. This was at the peak of, like, the pop, punk, metalcore bands and things, and I screamed into a microphone. I just let it rip. I was the big, like, guttural vocal fry, like, really, like, I felt so cool doing it because, yeah, rock and roll. And I remember being at the competition. The judges are doing their thing, and this was with our college. They did this battle of the bands, and they had a music department. We were the only band of our type at it, FYI. And the coach, one of the, or I'm sorry, not the coach, the judge, one of the judges said, like, was a music teacher, a professor of the musical arts, and he taught very good vocal techniques. He wasn't my teacher, but he was a good vocal technique, knew how to do all the voice stuff that I never learned back then. And he said to us when we're on stage, after I did my whole thing, we had fun, we're smiling, we felt really cool and amped up from the crowd who was into it. Uh, he said, looked right at me and said, "You know what? If you keep doing that with your voice, you're not gonna have a voice by the time you're my age." And he's like in his 50s or so, so not even that old. Um, He's like, by the time you get to my age, you're not gonna have a voice. Like, that is so bad for your voice. And I looked right at him and, with the arrogance of youth, said, "That's okay. I'm never gonna need it anyway." And now look what I'm doing. So, yeah, I got a little distracted there with that little aside, but I just find that such a funny examination of what younger me was to now. But anyway, like, the vocal practices that I've been getting have helped tremendously. I don't scream like that anymore. In fact, when old classic songs come on that really, like, oh, my nostalgia kicks in and I want to sing along, I just sort of nod and let it go. I do my best to not let those be my car karaoke's cuz yeah, I try to take care of this instrument that I now use to speak out into the universe, and I'm learning every day. Actually, just literally yesterday, um, I found a video of somebody doing breath support videos of how to do that more properly. And Lord knows, I still have no idea exactly what breath support means, but I'm trying to take the little tips and pointers that I can and just let something out. I'm winging it. Like, I still check with people. I reach out, I'll ask questions to people who are willing to offer information, and I wanna be respectful of people. Like, I don't expect answers from anybody I ask questions from, but I'm gonna ask them. And if you want to answer, great. If not, don't. But yeah, the more I'm kind of moving through all of this career, the more I'm trying to build myself up. I'll say there were some really good, let me see here if I can find the information of it. Ooh, I gotta get back. Oh, heck, this is gonna sound so bad on the podcast, I might actually clip out something. Let's be real, I'm not gonna clip out anything, I'm just gonna let it go. If you were watching me on the video on YouTube, haha, shameless plug, you would see me clicking around on my computer trying to get so I could remember the name of the vocal academy. I mentioned I was doing a kind of consistent training regiment, for the last few months, probably about last 5 months or so, and I've been feeling really good about it. It's called Jacob's Vocal Academy. I utilize YouTube Music, and they have a 10-minute vocal warm-up. I started with their 5-minute, then felt like I needed to push myself a little further because my voice wasn't hurting as much while I was doing it, which is a good thing. You don't want your voice to hurt while you're doing any of your warm-ups or your practices. But I also did need to strengthen, kind of like you lift weights and your muscles get a little fatigued. I had to push to kind of push past the fatigue to allow it to strengthen, and it's helped tremendously with how I utilize this thing. So I do the Jacobs Vocal Academy 10-minute vocal warm up every single day. as much as I can. There are certain days where, I've got something else going on, or it's a weekend and we're busy, so I don't get to it. But I can do this in so many places. I do it in my car. I do it in my office. I do it just randomly while I'm alone and isolated. I even uploaded a TikTok of me like just showing this is what I'm doing every day, and I'm hoping it helps. I'll say, yeah, it helps. Yeah. Oh, this was a lot of me just saying, take care of your voice. I've had to learn how to do that correctly. I had some grounding that I kind of came into this with, but taking care of my voice has been something that I realized, or I've really found has. Oh, you could probably hear this car driving away. My booth is great, but there are certain situations where this is a home booth, so you're going to hear things from out. I don't know if you heard it. I'm not going to try and edit that out a ton at all. Just my basic thing, and that's yeah. I if you hear it, great. Then you can hear it. I'm still winging it here. I'm working with what I got. Anyway, use your voice. Take care of your voice. Vocal warm-ups, yeah, they're important and they're super duper helpful from all elements of the voice. Learning the anatomy of the voice, learning about things like I mentioned earlier. I didn't know what a glottal stop was, but I started looking into it. Knowing how and what this whole thing is has changed how I interact with this industry. And it's not something that a ton of discussion was happening because there is a lot of focus on the performance side of this, which is absolutely important. But this was something that when I learned about it, I was like, this is, for me, I'm the type of person that really does value that kind of information, the actual mechanics, the actual breakdown. That way I know when I'm doing something, or I have at least some sense of confidence around when I'm doing something, when I'm trying something different, when I'm aiming to reach new heights or new range. I like knowing what I'm focusing on because that just helps me stay engaged with it and all of that. So I'm sure this was a just me just trying to say what my process was in recognizing I'm going to be using my voice in a different way than I have before. And things will come into play within this industry, like how do you do the conversational read? And that has been a whole nother thing to try and separate. That one is, yes, a degree of using my voice, but it's also separating my mind from where I would be before. And that's been a whole different set of stretching skills and learning how to do the different reads, whether that's I want to be the real person, I want to be the announcer, I want to be the spokesperson. Each one has different nuance. And that word is both right and so annoying through this entire industry. Is like nuance is such a big deal and also like tough to really do. So that's where the performance side does come in. But that's another episode, another time for me to talk. And this was just me trying to share, like, learn how to use your tool. I have been winging that over the last year, and genuinely, I am happy with the results of all the work that I've been putting in. The work does pay off. What you put in is what you get out. I do believe that, and it has been the case for me, at least, again, speaking from my experience only. If you want to do and use your voice, you don't have to be actively a voice actor. You don't have to be actively whatever. If you can use your voice, just learn a little bit of how to. I think everybody could benefit from vocal warm-ups. I think they're great. And it was awkward. It was weird. I didn't like it at first, but I pushed through that awkwardness and yeah, eventually it just has become something that it's like, ooh, I didn't do that today. I really want to. So cheering you on however I can, cheering myself on because Lord knows I need it. And yeah, I'm going to keep pushing forward. I hope you get to push forward alongside however you need in this moment. But great. I'll talk to you again when something comes into my brain that I just feel like I need to use this platform to discuss it. Bye.